What's up, everyone? It's December 5th of 2025. Welcome back. In this video, we will be discussing the death of former Detroit Pistons player and NBA champion, Dan Campbell, who was reported to have died on December 1st due to an accidental drowning. As the story goes, he was on a fishing trip when Campbell suffered a medical emergency. This then led to his accidental drowning. Now, this is a rather peculiar story, and we see a lot of athletes and celebrities die under bizarre circumstances. And what this channel is about is exposing the code of letters and numbers that help produce these stories in the mainstream media. The ciphers on your screen are called the base 4, and it's where we'll spend most of our time looking today. Of course, we also have the very significant Latin and standard cipher that we will also be reviewing. And when you compare these ciphers to dates on the calendar, as well as date measurements, you find that something truly very bizarre is going on. And what we'll discuss today is how this story about Dan Campbell is first and foremost a skull and bones riddle. The date on which he died was aligned ideally with Skull and Bones' special anniversary, which transpired in the year 2023, when its home, Yale, turned 322 years old, which is, of course, the number on the emblem. The other major element we'll be discussing is how this story is a riddle for perhaps the most famous death in NBA history, Kobe Bryant, who, of course, was killed in a helicopter crash in 2020. Kobe Bryant wore number 24 for the back leg of his career. And in the year 2004, which has these same digits, Kobe and his Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons and Dan Campbell in that year's NBA Finals. So we'll discuss a lot about how that's all connected. Remember, just one day before Kobe died, he was passed on the all-time scoring list by LeBron James. Well, just last night, a very significant scoring record by LeBron James was broken, as he had played 1,297 straight games, scoring at least 10 points, but that streak broke last night. So we'll discuss how that's connected as well. But another very important element of this riddle is the fact that this former Detroit player had the last name Campbell. Well, last night, just before we learned the cause of Dan Campbell's death, Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, who shares the same last name, who coaches a team in the same city, defeated the Dallas Cowboys with 44 points. So we're going to be talking about this as well. Detroit winning their 614th game, an important number. So for starters, let's go back to this Kobe Bryant riddle. Now, it's important to notice that during his NBA career, aside from a couple of years with the Charlotte Hornets, Dan Campbell wore number 41 for the entirety of his career. Now, you'll notice he started his career as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers from 91 through 99, which means that he was a teammate of Kobe Bryant. Well, then he would go on to the Pistons and defeat Kobe and the Lakers in the finals in 2004, wearing that same number 41. Now, the number 41 is important to Skull and Bones, which sums to 41 in our standard reduction method. Campbell won the title with the Pistons, which also equals 41 in reverse reduction. The name Kobe Bryant also equals 41. And Kobe Bryant died at the age of 41 years old. This is a very important number to Kobe. I think in his last game, he was even removed with 4.1 seconds on the clock. There's dozens of other examples, but these are the simplest. Campbell's death on December 1st also fell exactly 41 weeks after the birthday of perhaps the biggest star in NBA history, Michael Jordan. And one of the reasons I point this out is because Eldon Campbell was born on July 23rd, which means that Michael Jordan's father died on his 25th birthday. So James Jordan Sr. murdered right after Jordan won his third NBA championship, and that was on July 23rd. Again, the 25th birthday of Eldon Campbell. So this brings us to the special LeBron streak, which ended just last night. Notice how this streak was 1,297 games. 1,297 is what we call a prime number, divisible only by 1 and itself. And you'll notice that this number is the 211th prime number. Well, this is very intriguing. When Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash, it was a span of 211 days before his birthday. This is the ordinal gematria of ritual human sacrifice. Eldon Campbell played his college basketball for the Clemson Tigers, which also has gematria of 211 using capital letters, a cipher which simply adds 26 for every capital letter in the equation. Kobe Bryant's nickname was the Black Mamba, which equals 211, just like the name Chamberlain. Now, Kobe Bryant's career was heavily connected to Wilt Chamberlain, who was also born in Philadelphia, just like Kobe. I'll link this post down in the description below about how Kobe is the ultimate 666 athlete and how it all goes back to Wilt Chamberlain. 211 is also the reverse value of 666. And remember, it was Kobe's 666th game when he scored 81 points against the Raptors. Which is also interesting because the Raptors, an Eastern Conference team that the Lakers don't play that often, is the team that ended LeBron James' scoring streak just last night. Of course, LeBron now a member of the Lakers as well. When Eldon Campbell passed away, he was 688 months old. And this number sticks out because when you look at Kobe Bryant's birthday, you learn that he was born during Brown Lunation number 688. Every new moon since January of 1923, has been assigned a number. So Kobe's birth during Lunation 688. Well, when Kobe was killed, it happened during Brown Lunation number 1201. Well, 1201 is just like the date that Eldon Campbell died, December 1st, 1201. Eldon Campbell was born exactly 121 months before Kobe Bryant. In the alphabetic order, blood sacrifice equals 121. So does Revelation, which is the book of the Bible that reveals the number of the beast. So Eldon dies on the date 1201. That date had primary numerology of 58. Simply add the digits in the date as you would say them out loud. 12 plus 1 plus 20 plus 25. Well, the 2004 NBA Finals completed the 58th season of the NBA. And in reverse reduction, the name Kobe Bryant equals 58. Check out Kobe's age when Eldon died on Monday, not only do you get the 666, but you also find out he was 47 years and 100 days of age. In a special cipher called Satanic Gematria, which is structured around the number 666, the numbers 666 and Revelation both equal 471. And again, Kobe's entire life and career was coded around this number 666. He even had what he called the 666 workout routine. But next, let's dive into the numbers that connect us back to the Skull and Bones Society, which has the number 322 on its emblem. Measuring from the death of Kobe Bryant to the death of his former teammate and foe, Dan Campbell, is 2,137 days apart, including the end date. Well, 2137 is another prime number, and as my website at gematrinator.com shows you, this is the 322nd prime number, the big skull and bones number, reflecting back the number of days between their deaths. The name Eldon does have gematria of 223. His team, the Pistons, has gematria of both 223 and 322. Skull and crossbones sums to 223 in ordinal. And remember, Kobe was born in the city of Philadelphia, which equals 223 in reverse. These two special numbers, 223 and 322, share gematria of 295 with the phrase Skull and Bones Society. And would you look at how old Dan Campbell was when he passed away? 20,950 days of age. 295. Of course, in numerology, these zeros are essentially treated as empty space, meaning this is a match with 295. And again, if you watch my channel with any regularity, you know that these numbers are not unique to this video. This is the same code we discuss in most of these stories of early demise. Now, again, the 223 and 322 pairing was significant as Yale celebrated its 322nd anniversary in the year with 223 in the digits. So get this. Measuring from Yale's, quote, skull and bones anniversary to last night's game where Dan Campbell and the Lions defeated the Cowboys was 787 days. Also, the date that we learned of the cause of death for Dan Campbell. 787 is the Latin gematria of Detroit Pistons and the satanic value of Yale Skull and Bones. But, of course, there's more. Think about the date that Dan Campbell passed away, the 1st of December. In most parts of the world, this date is written as 1/12. Here we have the digits 112, or 112. Dan died exactly 1,120 weeks after he captured the NBA championship with the Pistons. His death was also exactly 112 weeks after Yale turned 322 years old. In the alphabetic order, Pistons equals 112. He died of an accidental drowning? Really? Drowning equals 112. And don't forget the nickname for the Skull and Bones Society is the Brotherhood of Death, which also equals 112. In fact, when Dan Campbell lifted the Larry O'Brien trophy, he was a span of 13,000 112 days old. This number is also relevant to Lions coach Dan Campbell. That Campbell was born on a date with primary numerology of 112. Also consider how the digits in 112 are the same digits in 211, which was one of the first numbers we discussed in this decode. Now, I thought it was interesting that this number, 1,297, that was connected to LeBron's streak, when you write that number out, it does have gematria of 444 in reverse. This is an important number to skull and bones. When you write out skull and crossbones, as well as their important numbers, you get a lot of 444 gematria. Remember, killing equals 444 in Sumerian. Eldon Campbell won the NBA championship at exactly 444 lunar phases of age. In fact, he died 44 weeks and 4 days before Yale's October 9th founding date. In the Detroit Lions' win over the Dallas Cowboys just last night, Lions player Jahmyr Gibbs accomplished something that will stand in the annals of NFL history, as he tied another former Lions running back, Barry Sanders, perhaps the greatest running back of all time. And Gibbs tied Sanders with the most touchdowns before turning the age of 24. So notice how Gibbs and Sanders both now have 47 career touchdowns before the age of 24. Well, curiously, the 47th prime number is 211, a number that we've been discussing. But I want to point out more about this number 47, because head coach Dan Campbell for the Lions, with his victory last night, now has 47 wins with the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs was born 404 months and 4 days after Barry Sanders. Sanders was born exactly 404 weeks before head coach Dan Campbell. And the game last night was played in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit equals 44. So does the state of Michigan in the same cipher, 44. And perhaps this would explain why the Lions scored 44 points in this game. The word kill equals 44 in the alphabetic order. This is in addition to the word killing equal 444. Another special 444 is the name Jesus, as, of course, this is a very biblical code. Notice how Jesus equals 985 in Latin. Eldon Jerome Campbell also equals 985 in that same cipher. Also notice his 170 gematria in ordinal. Perhaps this is why we're being told that he died in the state of Florida, which equals 170. Not telling us what city he died in, but just currently the state. A couple more notes on the skull and bones code. Eldon Campbell was 6,004 days older than LeBron James, which syncs up with the name Campbell and the state of Michigan, 64. 64 is also the address for Skull and Bones headquarters. And it makes sense, right? 32 times 2 is 64. Skull and Bones equals 604 Satanic. Secret Society 640 in the same cipher. Eldon Campbell, also born on the 205th day of the year, which connects to Yale University, and more. So for the second part of this video, I want to talk a little bit more about how this is connected to the Lions game that was won by head coach Dan Campbell, who shares a name with this Detroit basketball player. Thought it was interesting that this game ended with a score of 30-44 because the name Campbell has matching 344 Gematria with Michigan. Now, another thing that stood out to me about this connection with Barry Sanders from last night. So again, Barry Sanders got tied for most career touchdowns under the age of 24 by Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, look at how close the birthday of Barry Sanders is to Eldon Campbell. Both of these guys were born in July of the year 68. In fact, they were born exactly 1 week apart from one another. Whether you write out 1 week or 7 days, both of these phrases sum to 33 in reduction gematria. In the 33rd verse of the Bible, Genesis 2:2, God rests on the seventh day. So it's certainly no coincidence that the number 33 and 1 week are connected to each other. 33 was an important number to Kobe. Kobe equals 33 in ordinal, and he was drafted out of high school where he wore number 33 at Lower Merion. And Lower Merion has the same reduction gematria as the number 33, 66 and 60. Last night's NFL game featured the Lions against the Cowboys. And the Lions and Cowboys are two of just a handful of teams in the NFL with gematria of 33. The Lions coach, Daniel Allen Campbell, and his last name Campbell both equal 303 with capital letters. And do you know why this is so interesting? That's because if you look up the NFL history between the Cowboys and the Lions, we discover that last night was the 33rd matchup all time between these two teams. "33 equals 895 in Latin, which has the same digits as Eldon Jerome Campbell. The phrase ritual human sacrifice also has the same gematria as the number 33, 895. This phrase also equals 131. Kobe Bryant was born 10 years, 31 days after Eldon Campbell, who died 131 days after his birthday. And just look at the connection between Eldon Campbell and Dan Campbell when you look at their dates of birth and death. These two Campbells were born exactly 403 weeks apart. In ordinal, Yale equals 43. In Latin, Yale University equals 2059. And when Eldon died, Dan was exactly 2,590 weeks old, which has the same 4 digits. 2059. The Skull and Bones Society was founded in 1832. For last night's game, Dan Campbell was 18,132 days old. However, he was also exactly 614 lunar phases old. A lunar phase is an astrological measurement of the moon, measuring the time it takes between each new moon, a little over 29 and a half days. So on the date that Dan Campbell is exactly 614 lunar phases old, the Detroit Lions won their 614th game in franchise history. .614 is also the satanic gematria of Eldon's college team, the Clemson Tigers. There's a few more connections I listed in my post. The number 123 seems to connect Dan Campbell to Jameer Gibbs and Barry Sanders, Kobe Bryant. Also, Eldon Campbell was born on a date with 117 numerology. And he died while fishing, which equals 117, like Detroit and Clemson University. Jameer Gibbs was exactly 117 weeks old when Campbell won the championship. Also 11 months and 7 days before Dan Campbell's and Jameer Gibbs' birthdays. Again, just some more assorted notes, as there's never really an end to any of these rabbit holes. You know, I could probably go on for another hour or two talking about some of these lesser connections. But I do want to list out a few notes before I wrap this video up. Back to this name, Eldon Jerome Campbell. Another connection to the sacrifice code is this 485. Consider right now how the Jesuit order is 485 years old. Turning this age in September. The phrase human sacrifice equals 485 in Latin. And remember, ritual human sacrifice is 895 in that same cipher, which brings us back to Eldon Jerome Campbell. So, you know, look at this, 170 like sacrifice. Of course, the word kill, also 17. Also worth noting that Dan Campbell is currently sitting on 33 losses with the Lions. And last night was the 33rd game all-time against the Cowboys. So it all ties together a little bit too well, doesn't it? A couple more notes. Typically, you wouldn't write it out this way, but if you do use the ampersand, skull and crossbones equals 204. Again, Kobe Bryant, war number 24. We're talking about the 2004 NBA Finals, in which Eldon was victorious. So I think that about wraps it up. If you want to check the description down below for more videos, including my Kobe Bryant playlist, which I'm adding this video to, obviously. Here's another note I had that stood out. Look at the phrase, gone fishing. I don't really know if this is relevant or not. This feels like a little bit of arbitrary phrasing, but I thought the fact that this guy died while he was fishing, this phrase popped into my head, gone fishing. And you have to admit, it's a little curious how this matches Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, 113 and 311. Right? Gone fishing, 113, 311. Same numbers as Michael Jordan. Same numbers as Kobe Bryant, 113. Gone fishing also equals 68, which is like the year Dan Campbell was born. If you use capital letters, Eldon's full name equals the 68th prime number. Oh, that's also the 8th star number, so 68 and 8, 688. Kind of like his age when he died, 688 months, matching Bryant's lunation number. So, again, more to me be uncovered, but absolutely connected to this ongoing skull and bones code, which I've been discussing on this channel for close to 3 years now. And it appears that it is every bit as relevant today as it was when I began talking about it in late 2022 or early 2023. Remember Yale and its special secret society, all synced up to these great American total solar eclipses that completed last year, April of 2024. Notice how Dan Campbell died exactly 86 weeks after the second of the two skull and bones eclipses. 86 weeks, really? Is this why he died of an accidental drowning? 86? And remember, 86 is slang for offing or getting rid of somebody. He played for the Detroit Pistons, which equals 86 with the S exception. Blood sacrifice is 86. So is human sacrifice. So it seems unlikely that this is coincidental. 86 weeks. Wow, there's a lot of interesting numbers here. I mean, you get 1 year and 34 weeks. Like solar eclipse, 134 ordinal. You also get 19 months and 23 days. Remember, the Brown lunation number first began in the year 1923. And here we pointed out this strong Brown lunation number riddle with Kobe Bryant. I mean, who could look at these videos and think that this is all just a random coincidence? This world is so much deeper and magical than most people think. And, you know, maybe this guy was sacrificed. That could very well be. I don't know. But I also believe that there's something deeper going on with these numerical connections, that these secret societies more than likely discovered the numbers that are most significant to life and death in this matrix and stamped themselves with it. That doesn't mean they don't do their own rituals, though. And I suspect this may be the case here. But again, if you look at my channel, particularly my playlists, I do have an organic matrix playlist as well, which shows how these numbers manifest in our own personal lives as well. And many people I know, especially the ones I most respect in the field of numerology, seem to find riddles and connections with their own lives as well. And I think that is the true secret of this world, that we are all infinite beings temporarily inhabiting a human body to help expand our consciousness and our higher selves, bringing it to a stronger level of understanding and love, which is what all of this comes down to. So for now, that'll do it for this video. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching live or archived. Do feel free to like, share, subscribe, whatever else can help this channel, I suppose. If you want to support the work, there are links down in the description below. You can join, become a member of Gematrinator.com, which helps superpower your decoding tools and also supports videos like this. Before long, we'll have some more news on the website, a big software upgrade coming that should help supercharge decodes to the next level. I know I've said that a lot lately, but we are very close to launching, so keep your eyes peeled. Again, peace, love, God bless. We'll talk to y'all next time. See ya.